Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Page of Stones and the Lynx. And if you'd like a private reading, click the link down below in the description box to the stand store, and we'll get that all set up for you. So as I said, today's tarot card of the day is the Page of Stones and the Lynx. And when this card came up on yesterday's card, the King of Stones, to me, the message that was coming across is, there's a message of financial stability coming through. Okay, there's a message of security, materialism. Something's going to happen here to help you out financially. All right, or with materialism, or with your security. The lynx is a formidable hunter, just as the wolf is. Okay, and he's a fierce protector. Okay, and he's also, the way I like to explain it, they're messengers, and this is like a new opportunity that may be coming in. You've got two pages down here. You got the Page of Vessels, which is talking about love and relationships and psychic ability, as well as the financial piece, with the Page of Stones, the Lynx. The Lynx is also a hard worker. He's very careful, and this is some slow energy coming. So even though the Page of Vessels is down here giving you that vibe of love and relationships, I feel that with the three cards that are down, with the Page of Vessels and the Knight of Stones, okay, that there is going to be somebody that's going to come across your path, okay, that is going to give you an opportunity in a relationship to increase your financial standing. Now, whether that's somebody gives you a card of a businessman, for a new opportunity, whether somebody recommends a financial advisor for you, okay, it's all down there. Okay, but you're going to have to be very quick and dedicated to whatever action they have. And that Knight of Arrows is still down here twice. So, you've got a real high emphasis on being quick, resolute, all right, and looking at things from a different perspective, looking at things from up above. Okay, look at it from the macro view on what's going down. Okay. And then you've got the Ace of Bows, the Spark of Life, which is still down here. So, the lesson that I'm seeing coming through is there's an opportunity, a fresh opportunity, one that's going to have a lot of passion behind it, okay? One that's going to, you're going to have to be quick on. You're going to have to look at it from all angles to make sure you've got all the details. And then once you figure that out, you're going to be dedicated, all right? And then it's just a matter of finding that good advice, okay, that the fox was asking you yesterday, and understanding who is it that I can trust to talk about these matters. Now, with the Page of Stones, the Lynx, if this is you or a person that you're in your life, it's somebody that's going to use common sense, okay? And again, they're going to be very dedicated, and that, so dedication's down here twice, and enjoys to learn, very authentic. Whether that's you're taking control of your 401k or somebody else does, okay? You're going to follow along with what's happening. Okay, you're going to be dedicated every week to be looking at, that I'm just using a 401k as an idea, looking at it every day, every week, right, and understanding how your money is being used, right. If this is an aspect, this is kind of like beginning stages, all right. If you don't understand it, you're going to start doing some research, looking at it from a high perspective, right. Also, it's going to be something that's very down to earth, very easy for you to grasp, very easy for you to enjoy, okay? And during that process, this aspect is going to be busybody work, okay? You're going to be, setting up spreadsheets and looking at things to make sure that, things are going the way you want it. Again, it's that this is an event. It could be an apprenticeship, maybe a self-apprenticeship where you're studying, all right, or even training, going through some sort of training to just give you an idea, on, opening up an account, understanding who to trust, what organization to trust, those types of things. So the two questions that the Lynx asks is, what can you learn? Well, there's a lot to learn here. One, okay, who's going to offer you the best advice? What can you learn, by talking to a financial expert, or, looking at that relationship, okay, where you need to let your feelings show and just say, hey, you know what? This is how I feel. This is how I want, need things to go forward for me. I'd like to, retire at a certain age, or, I have this trip coming up, right? So you're going to be talking to somebody where your heart's going to be out on your sleeve, and you're laying everything out there, okay, for them to hear, okay? And, that Knight of Arrows, he's looking at you saying, what do you need to stand up for? Well, you need to stand up for yourself, okay? And you're doing it. You're dedicated to your cause, all right? And you've got the passion to what's going on. The other question that this Page of Stones, this Lynx, is asking you is, where do you need to be dedicated? 4 days ago, the dedication card came out. So are you dedicated to the cause that you have? Okay. The King of Stones is saying, where do you need to provide the support? Maybe you need to look at your own finances and say, okay, can I afford to do what I want to do? Or how am I going to get from point A to point B? And, the Otter's saying, I need to trust you, maybe a mentor, maybe a financial advisor, to get me from point A to point B. And at the same time, that Knight of Arrows, with that quick, swift action, is telling you, where might you be wrongly informed? All right? Where do you need to get the details on how to move forward? So, there's a lot packed into these court cards. And just trying to understand where things are going. With my interpretation of what's going on, the King of Stones and the Page of Stones, the Page of Vessels, there's a relationship that's out there. One that you're going to be passionate about, okay? And you're going to get the right information from the right person, that right mentor, that right advisor, to help you move forward to gain more materialism, to gain more security, gain more stability, all right? And during that process of talking with them, you're going to make a commitment. You're going to become dedicated, okay, to what's going out there, all right? And it's going to be passion. There's going to be a lot of passion about it. He's going to, maybe they tell you, hey, if you do this, this will happen, okay? And if you don't do this, obviously, that's action. It's not going to happen. But, there's always risk involved when it comes to playing with finances, right? So, look at what you do have. Be very cautious with moving it forward so you don't ruin your security, you ruin your stability, okay? And protect what you have. Stand up for what you have. Don't let people walk all over you. Find that right mentor. Find that right relationship to move forward. And the other thing is, don't let it bind you. Okay? If it's for a contract or something like that, look at it and say, you know what? What are the ins and outs? If I stay in this for a certain amount of time, what is it that I owe you? If I decide to get out, is there a penalty for that? You have to ask those questions to get understanding on where you're moving forward. So that's today's card of the day, the Page of Stones and Lynx. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, give me a thumbs up. Check out that stand store down below if you'd like a private reading. And this is D for Your Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.